you're speaking at ThrillerFest about screenplays and adapting your screenplay. How many books on screenplay writing have you written? I know it's a lot.
I've written, 4 or 5 different screenwriting things. The book, without being too self-promotional, the course we did was on adapting your manuscript into a screenplay. And as you saw, the title of this book, which people have teased me about, is How to Adapt Anything into a Screenplay. And so, all kind of joking aside, I've developed, after teaching at USC Film School for 15 years, a process where if you have a book or a short story or an idea or a comic book, anything, that's where we got the word anything, that has a great story. I spent the class, and in this book I spend time talking about how to crystallize the heart of that story and then transfer it into the visual medium of screenwriting. And so a lot of people have problems. They have a 600-page novel and the script is 100 pages. So how do I press it down? What do I leave out? What do I leave in? What do I have to write new that wasn't in the novel? And in class we spent a lot of time talking about the constraints of the medium, and screenwriting is a visual medium, but it's not a psychological one. In a novel, you can get inside what you're thinking, and you can have a whole chapter just about their thought process that could take place in a very short period of time. I always make a joke. Dostoevsky's great novel, Crime and Punishment, was basically would make a horrible movie because it's like, should I kill? Should I kill? And then he kills her, and there's that one scene, and then he's, oh my God, I killed her, and it's a great psychological novel, but screenwriting and when you see kind of a conflation now, a lot of novels are reading more like screenplays because people want more action and it has to move quicker and have a feeling like a screenplay in novel form. So it was fun. We had a nice group of people some of them were screenwriters looking to write novels, and some were novelists looking to write screenplays.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think are some of the biggest challenges that a novelist looking to adapt a story of theirs into a screenplay face?
Well, first they have to be able to talk without hearing the piano music in the background. It's this idea of releasing. They might have spent, a lot of times they say, but I spent 2 weeks writing that chapter, and I'm like, and that's great for the novel. You needed that chapter in the novel, but it doesn't push the story forward. You have to lose it in the script, and it's hard for people when they're so connected. A lot of times in Hollywood, they want to hire an A-list Hollywood screenwriter to write the movie version, and they're going to change stuff, and sometimes that's a problem, but other times that fresh perspective that the person didn't write the novel, so they have the ability to make really good changes and see what the essence of the book is, but also add what needs to be added. And the other thing that's really interesting is we spend a lot of time talking about novelists wish they had a soundtrack. We hear music in the background. In Hollywood, when you're writing a screenplay, no matter how well you've written the scene, when you have the ability to add music to it, it creates much more emotion. And so as a novelist, you have to be able to just create emotion through language, and it's kind of, you're at a lesser, you have to be more talented as a writer, and you have less tools in your toolbox, so to speak, to use. So it's interesting to think. I always, in the end, just urge people to say, look, even if you never get this movie made, the act of writing a screenplay will make you a better novelist. The act of adapting your book into a script will teach you so much about your book that it'll make your book better too. Everyone who's ever done this with me has gone back and changed their book afterwards. They've realized, I needed this, I needed that, and engaging in that process teaches them about the nature of screenplays versus novels, and also about what they're good at as a writer, what they need work on as a writer, and the true essence of the story they're writing. So it's a good process to engage in.
And you also help people who maybe never have written anything before but want to start writing screenplays, correct?
Yeah. It seems like 10 years ago, everyone was writing a script. You know, there was Shane Black sold Lethal Weapon for over $1 million, you know, and there was that big, and people would come to my screenwriting seminars and say, how much money can I get? You know, and it was like dollars and dreams, you know, and now I see less of that, and more people seem to be talking about create space and self-publishing and writing their story as a book. And so I end up this year, most of my consulting has been on thrillers, medical thrillers, legal thrillers. I work with a lot of lawyers and doctors who are writing books. And then when they're done with the book, then they're starting to think, well, should we make a movie? You know, should we do a script? But I see more and more people, and more of my time is consulting on manuscripts now versus screenplays.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and it didn't used to be that way, so I don't know what's going on in the world, you know, why that is. But I think a lot of people, you see in Hollywood right now, you're seeing huge, what they call tentpole, the superhero pictures, these, you know, $100 million pictures, and then the low budget indies, and there's not much in the middle anymore. And so I think a lot of people are saying writing a screenplay is too hard. I'll write it as a novel, and if the novel's a hit, then Hollywood will pay, you know, for the screenplay. Right. So there's the movement, I think, if you have that great idea, to do it as a book, try to sell it, try to get an agent, but even if you can't, self-publish and get it out in the world and see if it becomes a bestseller, you know, and then we'll talk about the screenplay. Yeah,
tell us about screenwriting in the Land of Oz.
Wizard of Oz was always kind of one of my favorite films, and I teach it all the time in terms of structure. So this is a little twist on that. It uses a lot of the lessons from Wizard of Oz that I teach, but it also is written in email form. So someone says, "Dear Professor Oz, I want to be a screenwriter," and he writes back, and it has lessons. And so it's an interactive, more like a story between an old cranky guy who he calls Oz and a young aspiring writer. And it's a fun book. It really isn't just chapter 1, plot, chapter 2. You know, it's a back and forth with two characters, and it's their journey together. So it's fun. Fun, yeah.
I can't wait to read it.